Good evening, welcome to APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward.
And I'm Savannah Kelly. Winnipeg police are looking for a woman they say is a suspect in the murders of two Indigenous women. 34-year-old Leah Carol Clifton is wanted for the homicide of Heather Beardy, who was killed in February of this year.
Clifton is also wanted for second-degree murder in the death of 25-year-old Doris Trout, who was killed on May 19th. Winnipeg police had previously released these photos of Clifton when she was identified as a person of interest in the homicide of Doris Trout. Police say Clifton is considered armed and dangerous. Indigenous women make up 4 of Winnipeg's 25 homicides so far this year. Arrests have been made in all of their cases. Over the span of the last month, 5 First Nations women have lost their lives in tragic circumstances.
This is a violent individual. This is a person that is wanted by police for linked to two violent homicides. And at this point, it's a matter of getting her off the streets.
MMIWG family members, activists, and educators will be in Winnipeg this week for a gathering at the University of Winnipeg. They'll be looking at how universities can address the national inquiry's calls for justice. Jacqueline Romano is a professor at U of W and an organizer of the event. We spoke with her earlier in the week. Jacqueline, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us about the goal of this conference?
When we were organizing this, and we first started, it stems back to when they released the final report on murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. We were, my colleague and I, Dr. Jane Barter, were trying to figure out what we could actually do to change things, because reading through all of the statistics, all of the stories, all of the background is really, really emotionally difficult. It's a very difficult topic. And what's even more difficult is to think that things aren't going to change. Me with my background in political science, I'm interested in change, and how do you actually change the way things are? And the best way that I could imagine doing it was to bring together as many Indigenous women and academic, Indigenous students, allies together, and talk about what actually needs to be done to change the dire situation, which I would believe fundamentally stems from the question of why are Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirited people the most vulnerable people in our society.
Barriers to education and training are mentioned in the final report a lot. What role do post-secondary institutions have to play in addressing MMIWG?
I think that post-secondary institutions have a very important role to play. It's about empowering Indigenous women. It's about empowering Indigenous students. It's about giving opportunities, for students to realize what they're capable of and to give them control over their lives. Ever since the imposition of the Indian Act, and even before then, Indigenous people have lost control of their lives. Indigenous women have lost control of their lives and their place, even in their own communities. And education, I think, plays a fundamental role in teaching people the historical facts about the situation, the historicity, but also understanding it isn't inevitable, it isn't the only way to do things, but how we can change things or imagine a better outcome or a better world.
The final report says access to education is a way to increase security and is an important way to combat violence at its root. Are you hoping that some of the things that are spoken about and learned this week at the University of Winnipeg can be applied to other post-secondary institutions? Oh, absolutely.
Education is the key, right? That's what gives women options. That's what gives everyone options, student options. Educated people are not as vulnerable. People that have choices, right? And it doesn't have to be a university. It could be college. It could be specialized training. But having that belief that you can achieve your dreams, whatever they are, and being given the sort of ability, the access to resources and supports to do that, I think is fundamental to dealing with the issue of vulnerability of Indigenous women and girls.
Jackie, we wish you the best with the conference this weekend. Appreciate you taking some time for us.
Thank you.
We want to hear what you have to say about how universities can address the national inquiry's call to justice. Here's how you can continue the conversation. Send your emails to news@aptn.ca. Leave a comment on aptnnews.ca. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. Canada's northern infrastructure is in danger according to a new report. But the reason why isn't anything new. Climate change is dramatically impacting infrastructure like roads and buildings, and people living in northern communities are seeing those changes firsthand. Here's Sarah Connors with some findings from that report.
Climate change has been affecting Canada's north for decades, but what about northern infrastructure? According to a new report by the Canadian Climate Institute, the effects will be devastating without significant and immediate investments. Due North, facing the cost of climate change for northern infrastructure, focuses on things like the effects of permafrost thaw on roads, homes, and buildings, and the findings are damning. It found more than half of winter roads could become undrivable in the next 30 years due to warming temperatures. Those temperatures will also lead to more frequent and unpredictable flooding, threatening homes, buildings, and roads. And it notes some northern airport runways are being impacted by permafrost thaw, which will likely lead to rising repair costs for decades to come. The report stresses investment in infrastructure adaptation is needed to protect northern communities. It also urges governments to work alongside northerners and Indigenous communities to reimagine climate-resilient infrastructure. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Dire warnings indeed. Thanks, Sarah. Time to step aside for a quick break now.
Coming up, a clash between history and modern amenities on unceded territory. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's a clash between history and modern amenities. The rising demand for rare earth byproducts is driving requests for mining exploration in Western Quebec, specifically the unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation, and a site which was once home to an ancestral settlement. Here's Lindsay Richardson with more.
Light bulbs, cell phones, cars, all common everyday objects, except the mineral deposits needed to create them are far less common.
Rare earths, it's a mix. It's like a jackpot of many different elements.
That's why when you come to the site right here, I mean, you can see the veins going through the big piles of rock. Pretty good indicator that as you keep digging down, you're going to find more and more of this stuff and have some pretty rich deposits of these rare earth minerals.
The name and concept of rare earth may sound sci-fi, but it's a real-life concern for the Algonquin Nation at Quebec in Western Quebec.
Right here. That's probably one of the biggest, I guess, obstacles, issues, projects that's trying to happen on Quebec's unceded territory.
About an hour outside Quebec on a mountainside overlooking Lake Kippawa is the unceded territory known as Brandon Lake. It's where the Algonquin Nation settled and flourished for generations before the forced relocation onto reserve lands.
It's a fairly well-known lake and getting more well-known. Homes that were going for maybe a few $100,000, if that. I mean, you're in the $500,000. We're even seeing some homes going up for over $1 million now.
Justin Roy grew up here and is now Council's Economic Development Officer.
But you can see the federal government, when they gave us our land base, they put us as close to the water as possible without actually putting us on the water.
After 4 years of the Quebec government's pro-industry leadership, Roy says Quebec is starting to feel the pressure to develop.
It's every day, multiple times a day, we get consultations or requests to access the territory, to remove its resources, whether it's minerals, water, land, anything between the air and the ground. I mean, it really is endless.
For years, China held the monopoly on rare earth mining. Back in 2011, Mattamick Mining proposed an open pit site at Brandon Lake, hoping it would become Canada's first domestic supplier. At the time, locals said no.
They're just a bunch of bullshit. It's all about men. Excuse my language, but that's who it is. It's all about money. But once they get it, they're gone.
The project was killed, but was recently revived through a new mining company, Cheetah Minerals, the brains and bucks behind the Nialcha Rare Earth Project in the Northwest Territories. Even post-pandemic, Roy says,
no lump sum of money, no amount of jobs, no equity in the project, anything like that is ever going to trump the fact that it's not going to supersede the fact that this is where our community came from.
Don't let the quiet fool you. There's a lot of life at Brandon Lake.
Here you see, it almost looks painted on, it's so pink.
Of course, there's the minerals.
That's like a vein they are looking for.
Especially all this red stuff. That's the red pink that I was talking about.
Families still trap and forage here. Pascal Bibot, a former forestry technician, says this thicket of trees is the region's most prominent oak stand.
This forest here took 300 years to have that picture here. And in one summer, they can ruin it all.
Bibot now works in territorial management for Quebec Council. He says prospectors are already leaving refuse behind after taking core samples and is worried about contamination on land and in water.
Une vraie consultation, c'est pas juste d'entendre, c'est d'écouter aussi. Puis là, ce qu'on constate depuis un certain temps, oui, il y a une loi qui encadre le domaine des consultations, c'est une loi fédérale. Mais on dirait que c'est juste pour cocher une case là, sur une checklist, là, dire bon, ben, on a consulté. Ce qu'ils nous ont dit, ça nous importe peu, mais on a consulté.
But Cheetah Minerals says it's not a done deal. A company spokesperson was unavailable to interview before deadline, but in an email said they've extended the project's due diligence period in order to provide additional time to engage with the title, rights, and stakeholders in the Kippawa area. Those close to the file insist their message will not change.
Quoi que ce soit la méthode qu'ils vont utiliser pour prélever, c'est sûr que ça va laisser une grande cicatrice dans le territoire, puis dans le cœur du territoire algonquin. C'est ça qui est très dommage.
I'm not a cultural keeper, like say an elder or someone that knows the culture better than I do. But what I would call myself is a cultural protector. I know it needs to be protected at all costs, and for us, culture just isn't, making baskets or birch bark canoes and moose horns. I mean, it's the language, it's the people, it's the land, and everything that we're all interconnected.
Consultations with community members are expected to run through September. Lindsay Richardson, APTN National News, Quebec, Quebec.
Thanks, Lindsay. Time to step aside for one more quick break.
Still ahead, how the group Going Miles is inspiring Indigenous youth across the country.
Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. And our good buddy Greg Scriver got this amazing shot of the moon from late in the evening on June 13th. Wow, Greg described this as being just short of a full super strawberry moon. Such a moon is visible when the moon's orbit brings it closest to the Earth. And the next time this happens will be July 13th. So mark your calendars. Send your great photos by email to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at your Friday weather forecast.
Starting on the East Coast, we've got 21 degrees and showers in Charlottetown, Halifax, 18 degrees and rain as well. In Kuujjuaq, we've got 5 degrees and showers, Nain, also rainy with 12 degrees. In Chibougamau, 19 degrees, also rain there. Quebec City, 22 degrees and showers. Peterborough, Ontario, 23 degrees, sunny. Sault Ste. Marie, 19 degrees and some showers there. Big Trout Lake, 16 degrees and sunny. Sioux Lookout, rainy at 20 degrees. Churchill, 14 degrees and sunny. Thompson, we've got 18 degrees, mix of sun and cloud. Winnipeg is going to get a sunny 25 degrees. Barons River, 21, sunshine as well. Saskatoon, sunny and with a little bit of cloud, 28 degrees. Yorkton, we're going to get 24 degrees and sunshine. Buffalo Narrows, rainy and 17. La Ronge, 19, mix of sun and cloud. Fort McMurray, 16 degrees and showers. High level, 20 degrees, rain there as well. Calgary, 23 degrees and rain. Lethbridge, sunny with a little bit of cloud, 25 degrees. Kamloops 21 degrees and rain. Campbell River, sunshine there at 21 degrees. Dease Lake 19 degrees and sunshine. Fort Nelson, a little bit of rain, 21 degrees. Dawson City 25 degrees, mix of sun and cloud. Mayo 24 degrees, mix of sun and cloud there as well. Yellowknife is going to see 18 degrees, mostly sunny, little bit of cloud. Wrigley 23 degrees and sunshine. Paulatuck 18 degrees and sunny. Sax Harbor 9 degrees, sunshine with a little bit of cloud. Baker Lake 15 degrees and sunshine there. Arviat 13 degrees and sunny. Arctic Bay 4 degrees, sun with a little bit of cloud. And Agulik is going to see 2 degrees sunshine, little bit of cloud there as well. Temuera Morrison is an actor with a long time and worldwide reputation. But when the New Zealand Maori actor decided to go to a galaxy far, far away, he reached a new level of fame. And with that level of Star Wars fame comes Star Wars events. At the recent Star Wars celebration in Anaheim, the Boba Fett actor got up to sing for the crowd. And when he was finished, he decided to say thanks in a very Maori way, with a haka. Here he shares his thanks and his Maori culture with the Star Wars fans.
That is a pumped up crowd. Now to the West Coast, where our APTN's Tina House caught up with two Indigenous superstars who happen to be her own cousins. They're joining us from Vancouver.
We're here at Kits Beach today, and I'm so very proud to be here with my two cousins, Dakota House and Pookie G. Hi.
Thank you, Tina.
So good to see you guys. Absolutely. Cousin, what have you been up to lately? I know you've been doing a lot of work with the youth. Tell me about that.
That's right. Well, since the restrictions have been down, it's taken such a precedence over most of our Indigenous youth right across the country. Mental health has really been slammed hard. But as I was saying, since restrictions have been down, Going Miles has been traveling across the country, all around North America, and been able to work again with our communities. And of course, for those of you at home who don't know what Going Miles stands for, Miles is actually an acronym for Motivate, Inspire, Lead, Empower, Succeed. So it's been fantastic. We've been really making a huge positive impact everywhere we go, and I think it's so important that we get out there and be the positive role models that these guys need. I mean, everyone on Going Miles is drug and alcohol free, and being able to have that under our belt as well really shows that you can do and you can be anything that you want without the distractions and the things that are put in place to knock us off track, to keep us occupied, or that fabricated fun. So having the real deal fun and working with our future leaders of today and tomorrow, just an absolute honor.
Amazing. Pookie G, you've now joined the roster as one of those inspiring and leading. Tell me about what you're doing with the kids.
Yes, I'm proud to be on board with Going Miles. I've worked with them in the past, and I'm just out there healing, empowering, motivating everyone to be leaders and succeed in their community. Through my workshop, I teach healing through music. I'm also a hip-hop artist, recently nominated for an Indigenous Hip Hop Award. 2 of my songs.
Yeah, I play the cards of the hands I've been dealt with. 35 years now, I'm free of the helpless. It was 10 feet deep, or the life of a boss, and you I fought it like a beast for my life, for a loss.
I got a new album out. Been modeling. I recently did Western Canadian Fashion Week for 2 Indigenous designers. I'm also a radio DJ host through InSpeaker Media. I run 3 different shows through 2 different stations, and yes, being on the road, it feels good again to be out in these communities and assisting those in need.
So incredible. And you also starred in a movie recently. Tell me about that experience.
Yes, I am an actress as well, thanks to Dakota's help. And I acted in a movie called Abducted, was recently also nominated for Best Actress through the Red Nation Film Association. So proud of that.
Amazing. Speaking of acting, for those that don't know, my cousin here was the star of North of 60 for many, many seasons since the beginning, and a couple of movies as well.
Right.
What's happened on the acting front for you?
Well, in the last little while, a lot of people have been wondering, how come you're not on TV anymore? How come you're not doing this? How come you're not doing that? Well, in the last 17 years of my sobriety, that's when I started going miles, and that's what took most of my attention, focusing on the workshops and the programming and to be able to deliver a positive, healthy message. But, of course, with that being said, my children have been asking me, and as well as fans across the country, when are you going to start doing a movie again? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? Well, I'm happy to announce that I am starting to slowly lean back into that direction. I got a show coming out, well, actually a couple of shows coming out in the very near future. The last thing that I did was Outlander. Went down to Scotland to shoot some stuff, but the one that's coming out in the very near future is called Tales from the Dead Zone, where I got to work with Bret the Hitman Hart. The best there was, best there is, best there ever will be. So he and I became good buddies, and then I did this other show called Demented, where I play the psychotic killer. And since then, just been doing auditions, and I just had a contact hit me up for and offering me a part. I was also talking to Drew Hayden Taylor, one of my other brothers from another mother, and he has a TV series as well that's going to be, actually a feature film that's going to be coming up here in the very near future. So with that balance with family and grandkids and my partner and going miles and the movies and just bringing things right back down to the ground level. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. Well, you both make our family very, very proud, and in fact the whole entire country is behind you guys and all your success. Thank you so much for joining us today. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Back to you in studio.
Every year, the Polaris Prize is awarded to the most distinct Canadian album of the year, solely on artistic merit, not sales. This year, a number of Indigenous musicians have made the long list of 40 acts. Let's see who made the long list. Ambigazé for their album Sewn Back Together. Snotty Nose Rez Kids for Life After. Tanya Tagak for Tongues. And The Hallucination for One More Saturday Night. The Polaris Prize Gala happens September 19th.
Some super great acts on the long list for the Polaris Prize. Any favorites for yourself?
I would be hard pressed to choose, honestly.
Yeah, Tanya Tagak's, I've been pushing for that one since the beginning of the year. I think she got a pretty good chance of winning it again. Savannah, it was great to have you on the desk. Nice to have somebody up here to host for the first time in a couple of years. So
yeah,
great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Dennis. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Thursday.
For news anytime, you can visit our website, aptnnews.ca. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Savannah Kelly.
And I'm Dennis Ward. Have a great night.